Good morning. Today is the 15th of March 2024 and I'm going to go through my, make sure the camera on, yeah, I'm going to go through my pre-market checklist and my pre-market trend. Give me 2 seconds. That's my door. I'm back. Sorry about that. That was Amazon at my door. Usually just dump stuff on my doorstep and leg it, but I had to wait. They're waiting for me to collect it. Right. So yesterday we pushed up into this area of demand and we took a big well, it took 5 minutes to do that damage. It went through 1, 2, 3 of my levels and I stopped out on all of them, which is a bit annoying, but you know, it is what it is. And you can see today we came back up into one of the levels again and we have honoured this level as well, so the levels are still valid. I'm still watching the levels and we'll go from there. So with that in mind, in fact I did actually get a few scalps in the end. I scalped the VWAP, I think it was the VWAP up here yesterday. I was kind of scalping all the way down to this point, so you know, I did okay in the end. It was a red day, it's the smallest, you know. I managed to make back the losses from all these attempts, and I took several attempts on each section as well, on each level. So today I'm going to work harder on sticking with confirmation only. I was just getting in at the levels, getting in at the levels, getting in at the levels, and it just took me out every time. If I go with confirmation, for example, wait for it to pull back a bit, or at least put in a reversal candle, then at least then I may lose a bit of the run, yeah. But I probably wouldn't take as many losing trades. I don't mind taking losing trades, they're paper cut trades, and so for me that's part of my trading style. I take, you know, it'd take me a couple of attempts to get in there before I get the bottom, a couple of attempts to get in there, but then I'm good at holding. You know, I've been getting 10, 15, I've got a 20R trade this week, so that makes up for all the little paper cuts I take getting in. So you know, there's always room for improvement, and I use order flow, which is similar to this, which is this, and that helps me work out where the reversal's happening as well. So I'm not always getting in blindly at these levels. I do keep an eye on order flow. I look for a lack of sellers down at the bottoms of these candles, or I'm looking for a lack of buyers at these candles, only at my hourly levels. So for example, these single digit buyers means there's no more interest from the buyers, so potentially, oh yeah, there you go, you can prove it as well. I say if you see this single digit, single digit, single digit, low digit, and then come back up, some larger orders up here, that's like limit orders being triggered, and then small order there, so still no more interest from buyers, and no follow through, and then you can see a bit of a sell off. That's kind of what I'm looking for, but I don't pay any attention to this unless I get to my hourly levels. I do keep an eye on divergence as well, and with divergence what I'm looking for, this is a cumulative delta down here, and what I'm looking for, that, you know, you can see we had buyers coming in when this was largely going sideways, and then even though the price was selling off there, we were still kind of putting in a positive divergence, and then eventually the price reversed and the divergence reversed. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. That means there's more aggressive, for example this area here, there's more aggressive sellers here than there were buyers, more than aggressive buyers, even though the price was going up at that point. And then you can see then the next few candles we kind of pushed down. But today's a funny day. It's quad witching, so just be very careful because we may not see the market do what it should do. For example, ES and SPY may not be aligned with each other. You might see SPY declining when ES is going up, and I think so. Just be a bit wary. Right, let's crack on with some levels. So the first place I still want to stick with a trend, and you know they say the trend is your friend, and we've honoured this trend line quite a few times. Largely they go back as tagged the trend line a few times. Yesterday came right down to within the cent of the trend line. And so let's flip back to my other screen. Right, I'm back. Okay, so I still want to stick with the trend, and we've got this trend line. You can see we've been honouring it, kind of come close there. It's yesterday it came right down to within 1 cent of the trend line. So I'm still keeping this trend line in place, and I want to go with a trend. So I'm looking for a trend entry, and that'll either be a pullback off of the trend line, and I'm watching 51.90, 51.93 area, maybe yesterday's low for a bounce. I'm looking for a bounce off of 52.08, 52.10, which is a pre-market low, and it's an area of confidence as well. So we've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, and we've obviously got these bottoms here. And we came in the pre-market, kind of retesting that area. So it's a big area. I'm watching for a bounce off of that area, 52.8 to 58.10. And when I put these levels in, we were kind of up here at that point. And so I had this 52.18 as an area, a high risk area, but that's off the table now. I'm not a big fan. There's only a little bit of confidence there. These bottoms, tops. It's still a valid area to watch, but just take it with smaller risk, or don't take it at all. And then so that's 52.18, 52.20 for a bounce. And then obviously if we get above the pre-market high, this level here, and we've got this tops of candles, bottoms, and we kind of retest it in the pre-market. So I want to watch for a break and retest of that area as well. So that's what I'm really looking for, and the only rejection I can see is back up here in this demand zone. So if we get back up to 52, which is an area I was watching yesterday, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't take it, because I even had the level in place, and look at that, came right in to that level exactly within cents, within a few ticks. But it's an area of supply. We had a big reaction that time, we had a big reaction this time, and maybe we won't get this big reaction again, but we'll keep an eye on this area for potential bounce and rejection. And obviously if it's really strong, it's grinding up, then we could be looking for a break and retest it. Break, come back down, and then retest long to put in a new all-time high. But we are showing signs of tiredness. You know, we could be just going sideways for a bit. We've not been getting up to the tops of this channel for some time, and we kind of put in a new all-time high there, and we weren't able to break that all-time high, and we've kind of been going sideways as well. But we are still honouring, so we're kind of putting in this pattern, this ascending wedge pattern. So keep an eye on that, because eventually we're going to see something happen. Either as it narrows and narrows, it's either going to squeeze up or it's going to squeeze down. But obviously, being in a big uptrend and we're going sideways for a bit, that's resting at the moment. Volume, a little bit of extra volume yesterday, and we are getting more volume. So yeah, I just played the chart. So that's my levels. I'll come back to them just before we go to confirm. SPY is very similar. In fact, we did put in an all-time high yesterday. So this is yesterday's all-time high, 55.18.31. And so I kind of want to watch this area again for a reject, but I'm looking for a trend entry. And the only place I can see decent bounce area is the 510 to 509.50 area down here. And that's just because we've got bottoms of candles, tops and bottoms here. We had a little bit of indecision in that area there, and we had tops of candles, and we go back and probably touched other areas as well. Here we go, so, and a big one there as well. Go back to that. and that pivot there as well. So this is kind of an area I want to see. If we can get down to 510, I'll be looking for a bounce. We got this point of control, and we've got those 2 candles below. So this area is could act as natural support. Plus the yellow line is that weekly trend line I keep talking about. We're coming up. This goes back 24 years. That pivot to that pivot there. That was 2021, 2022, 2022, and then and obviously we've kind of put in an indecision, potentially a reversal candle last week, and we'll see what today brings. But that's where we are right now. So let's go through some levels for SPY. So 510 bounce, maybe a bounce we get down to 507, 508, and potentially we can watch for a high risk rejection at all-time highs area. And obviously we break the pre-market. I prefer the break of yesterday's high, but the pre-market high for a break and retest. Maybe target can be at yesterday's high, which is also the 50 moving average. Just a quick note, we are now below the 50 moving average, which we kind of, you can see the 50's been straight through the middle of all of the last few days. And that's another reason why we just want to be wary, because we kind of trailed it all the way up. So it's putting a new high, so we are still in an uptrend, so we need to keep an eye on that. Remember that we've got this trend line, you can see the trend line. Let's just draw it in. Something like that. It's just a rough area, just give us an idea. We kind of tagged it again yesterday. Bottoms. Basically I was looking for the most touches of this trend line. I know that one went through, but that touched it. Yesterday touched it, touched there. And obviously we started there. I'm sure if we go back further, we can probably link it up to other pivots. So just be a bit wary that coming into this trend line. In fact, we're coming into it now actually, looking for a potential bounce. So another bounce area, similar to ES, pre-market low area. Kind of this area. It's not a very defined area, but we've got kind of tops and bottoms here. Tops, bit of indecision area, bottoms there. We kind of touched it, went into it yesterday. So kind of watch that area for a bounce, and we've got this 200 moving average just below as well. So that's SPY. NQ, you can see this wedge forming. So we want to see it break out either way, either break out this side, let's go down that way, or break out that way. But we'll see what happens as it's starting to squeeze tighter, and then see what it does over that. It might just break down. So as for levels, obviously break and retest of the wedge in whatever direction it goes. Kind of like a rejection down at 18,420, 18,440, that area. Just looking for areas where we've got pivots, tops, bottoms, tops. So what was the ceiling? It's still the ceiling. It was kind of the floor a little bit here, but that's anyway. That's the area I'm looking at for rejection. And obviously, if we got the break and the retest, that rejection might come into play anyway on the break and retest of that. And then same down here, kind of probably keep an eye on this area for a bounce, which is 18,120. Let's draw that. Let's draw that in. It's kind of a zone. You can probably put a demand zone in that area to do that. So this area here. Watching 18,100 for a bounce, and again, if it breaks this structure, if it comes down, it breaks down, we can use that as a bounce, retest, and move on down. QQQs probably very similar, exactly the same. We've got this wedge, so the same levels really. So watching for a bounce. This yellow line is the weekly trend, so that could be a strong bounce area, but then it's weekly. And bear in mind, weekly is not a daily or an hourly, so a weekly level could be anywhere like that. So that's why I'm kind of taking this a pinch of salt, even though we've broken above it in the SPY, SPX and NQs. It's a big area because it's a weekly level. But we can watch it for a bounce, maybe that's, which just happens to be that pivot there. So 436, 435.50 for a bounce into this area, that would be a target, and then look for rejection down. And then a rejection can be at 443 area, 442.50. Right, SPX. I'll just go to the daily first. You can see this is the 20 years. Go to weekly. You can quite clearly see we've broken through. Same as SPY, we're putting in a indecision, a potential reversal candle, and kind of still indecision on the next candle. So today, kind of selling off right now in the pre-market. So levels for SPX, nothing's changed. 5100 for a bounce. We might be close there when we open, or we can watch. I'm going to make a slight adjustment. Oh, that's just my alert, isn't it? Let's just put these levels in. So we've got alert. I've got my alerts nearby as well, so if it gets down to there, I know it. So 5100 and 50, or 5000. No, sorry, 5050 for another bounce. They're the only two areas I'm watching, and that's the 200 moving average down there as well. So it could be aligned up. Let's quickly look at the others. So we've got gold. Kind of putting in this pattern. In an uptrend as well. You could see it kind of break out. Let's just draw that in. I've got my magnet in, so it's not quite. Let's turn that off, it's annoying me. Kind of that area like that. We'll see what happens. Break a structure we can watch for. Kind of in an hourly, not a confirmed downtrend. We've got to get underneath here. Need to break down, pull back in, and I look for rejection. So 2160 for a rejection. This area here. A break and retest, I meant, sorry. That's yesterday's low. It's kind of an area of confidence as well, tops and bottoms of candles, bottoms. So we need to break down through that area, this area here, and then we can watch for a short. We could also bounce as well, so a bounce or a break and retest. And then look at that pre-market high right on this trend line. So break and retest over pre-market high for a long. And those levels are, let's put it in, 2176, 2180, and then we've got 2157. Let's look at oil next. Same with oil, it's putting in this kind of flag pattern. So pre-market high, yesterday high, quite close. If I remember rightly, this is not all-time highs now. We're kind of putting in this weekly flag as well. Let's pull back into this area. Kind of said watch for the pullback, which it did. Don't know, I keep losing my trend. I draw lines in every day and they keep vanishing the next day. I'm not sure why. Maybe something to do with this global sync. I'll have a look at that later. So we kind of saw the bounce in the pre-market around that area, and then we can watch for a break and retest over, you could say pre-market high, but potentially yesterday's high. And how's that interact with the rest? If we look left, kind of, it's a area confluence bottoms of these big pivots as well, so it's going to be hard to get through that, but if we can break through that area, we've got a target 81.20 above. So you can see I haven't quite broken that area. There's a bit of volume there, you can see on the volume profile. Got volume in that area as well. And we've got volume down here, but there's a bit of a void just below, and that's so there's not much below. Okay, so yeah, so if you draw the trend line in, why is it not let me draw? Kind of broken the structure a bit there. There's not much as pre-market, so I wouldn't go and think too much into that because it's pre-market levels. That's all I can see is break and retest to continue the trend, or maybe a bounce if it comes back down to the pre-market low area or this 50 moving average. We've got this area here as well, area confluence. So $80 for a bounce area. Right, be quick. We've got 8 minutes to go. So RTY. If we can pull back up to this area, we can look for rejection. That's 2087, 2088 area. We could also look for rejection at the 50% mark. Let's draw that in. We're not far off it, so probably where that point of control is around 2080 for rejection. Happens to be this pivot area as well, so let's draw that in. So bottoms, 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 and then tops over here. So good area confluence, and then bottoms, tops, and tops. So yeah, so that's a good area. So a rejection at whatever level I just said, 2087. That's it really, and then can't really see a bounce because we're kind of confirming this downtrend. YM, how about that for a big sell-off in the pre-market? Looking for a bounce. Yesterday's low, which is it's not a very, I've never been a big fan of this chart. Kind of this area here, I'm looking at tops, tops, bottoms, bottoms, kind of finding the middle and the most touches of this line. Oh look, and it happens to be yesterday's low as well, so that's not a bad level. I wasn't even looking at that pivot, I was looking over here actually. So that's interesting to see. So we use that as a bounce area again. So let's say 39,143 for a bounce, 39,150. And then for a rejection, probably if we want to see it sell off then pull back up a bit. Still hard to get a rejection because it is in this kind of uptrend as well. So the real rejections won't happen until we get past that level. So the only rejection area I can see is probably this area confluence, and that's bottoms of this head and shoulders, tops of this candles, tops kind of that area there. So rejection at 39,554, and then finally Bitcoin. Look at that. Well, I've been saying this for the last few days. We drew a pullback. We're quite far away from the 20 moving average, and we came back into there and touched it. So interested to see how Bitcoin goes over the next few days. I said I was in Bitcoin and I've been taking out partial profits all the way up, only because of this extra high volume, you know, above average volume. So I kind of got out. I think I got out at 61, then I got out at 69, then at 72. So pretty much this part of the run. So interesting to see where there's no real, it's got to come back down. The bounce, a real bounce area is kind of down here at 53,000, and then we've got one at 40,000. So I wouldn't do nothing. I'm not going to, the little bit of profit I made on my Bitcoin, I was up 140%, I think 130%, because I've been averaging in as it's been coming down here. every month, just buying a little tiny bit. And then, so I was up about 130%, I think 135% when I checked. I've still got a little bit left in case we see a big run up, but what I'm really waiting for is a pullback down to hopefully 40,000. That's where I'm looking at. Or I'll start looking at areas of confluence. We can see that quite clear area there. So which is 48,000, so 50,000 round number. So I'll be looking to add it back in at that point. So I'm playing with market money now, not my own money, just profits. And that's it. Let's have a look at ES again. We had a bit of a sell-off a few minutes ago. Oh, look at that. Talked about this. Into this trend line again. And how about that for a level? It touched that level. Which was 51. I had 51.93. And what did that come to? 51.90. So that's not bad. So that's kind of, and it's an area, I said earlier, it's a region we're watching. Kind of that area there. And we came straight into it. It's only because we've got an area of confluence, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, bottoms of candles, and obviously we came into it here as well. So that's it. So let's just recap. At the time I was talking about 52.18, I think, when we was talking a few minutes ago. Yeah, that level there, I said that's a high risk bounce area. That's totally off the books now. Maybe it's a rejection area. We can look, if we see continued sell off, the break and the retest back up to this level, still a valid level, but we'll be looking in the opposite direction. It is at a higher risk bounce area right now, so maybe a high risk bounce. But looking at order flow, I can't see any reason to go long. We've got that's lower lows, lower lows, low pivots, and same here. Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So it's in sync with each. So it's in sync with the price. So there's nothing showing. I'm ignoring these last few candles. But yeah, that's it really. 2 minutes before market opens. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Next up will be the live stream of this order flow, and that'll be streaming in the next few minutes.